In the early days of New Tech in the 80s, we had this vision that in the future, your favorite show will be made by you or someone you know. I had the feeling that we could enable anybody with an idea to show the world what their idea was. And, everybody thought we were nuts, but today that idea is reality. If you have an idea, you can make a show. We have this amazing group of people at New Tech, some of the finest technologists in the world in this business. And we're all focused on one thing, helping you tell your story, take your idea, make a show, find your audience, and show the world what you can do.
What we've done here is we've extended our reach, and not only reached the average fan, but people all over the planet.
We've been able to produce terrific content and, frankly, produce content that we otherwise would never be able to produce.
I love what I do so much because people are excited to buy your product because they know it's just very fresh. That makes everything work good.
All those games, just the quantity of games that are now on and available, it's really enabled us to reach a wider audience and get our stories out there.
What we provide to our viewers is an experience that they can't get anywhere else. We give you exactly what you need to know what's hot online right now.
Being able to take nothing and put together all these little parts and come out with a show that helps somebody know what happened that day is pretty important.
Distributing via the internet has enabled a lot of sports that never would have been seen to be seen and to get their product in front of millions of fans. So it really has changed the game.
It can't be stated enough how much video has impacted Yamaha's ability to make our place in culture and in society.
Having that visual representation of what we're trying to say as a company is so important, and being able to share it instantaneously is awesome.
Your favorite show.
Your favorite show.
Your favorite show.
Made by you.
Made by you.
By you.
Or someone you know.
Or someone you know.
Or someone you know.
Show the world.
Show the world.
Show the world.
Show the world.
Show the world. In the early days of New Tech in the 80s, we had this vision that in the future, your favorite show will be made by you or someone you know. I had the feeling that we could enable anybody with an idea to show the world what their idea was. And, everybody thought we were nuts, but today that idea is reality. If you have an idea, you can make a show. We have this amazing group of people at New Tech, some of the finest technologists in the world in this business. And we're all focused on one thing, helping you tell your story, take your idea, make a show, find your audience, and show the world what you can do.
What we've done here is we've extended our reach, and not only reached the average fan, but people all over the planet.
We've been able to produce terrific content and, frankly, produce content that we otherwise would never be able to produce.
I love what I do so much because people are excited to buy your product because they know it's just very fresh. That makes everything work good.
All all those games, just the quantity of games that are now on and available, it's really enabled us to reach a wider audience and get our stories out there.
What we provide to our viewers is an experience that they can't get anywhere else. We give you exactly what you need to know what's hot online right now.
Being able to take nothing and put together all these little parts and come out with a show that helps somebody know what happened that day is pretty important.
Distributing via the internet has enabled a lot of sports that never would have been seen to be seen and to get their product in front of millions of fans. So it really has changed the game.
It can't be stated enough how much video has impacted Yamaha's ability to make our place in culture and in society.
Having that visual representation of what we're trying to say as a company is so important, and being able to share it instantaneously is awesome.
Your favorite show.
Your favorite show.
Your favorite show.
Made by you.
Made by you.
By you.
Or someone you know.
Or someone you know.
Or someone you know.
Show the world.
Show the world.
Show the world.
Show the world.
Show the world. In the early days of New Tech in the 80s, we had this vision that in the future, your favorite show will be made by you or someone you know. I had the feeling that we could enable anybody with an idea to show the world what their idea was. And, you know, everybody thought we were nuts, but today that idea is reality. If you have an idea, you can make a show. We have this amazing group of people at New Tech, some of the finest technologists in the world in this business. And we're all focused on one thing, helping you tell your story, take your idea, make a show, find your audience, and show the world what you can do.
What we've done here is we've extended our reach, and not only reach the average fan, but people all over the planet.
We've been able to produce terrific content and, frankly, produce content that we otherwise would never be able to produce.
I love what I do so much because people are excited to buy your product because they know it's just very fresh. That makes everything work good.
All those games, just the quantity of games that are now on and available, it's really enabled us to reach a wider audience and get our stories out there.
What we provide to our viewers is an experience that they can't get anywhere else. We give you exactly what you need to know what's hot online right now.
Being able to take nothing and put together all these little parts and come out with a show that helps somebody know what happened that day is pretty important.
Distributing via the internet
so at 10:25 we go live. I don't have a pocket to put this in. Can you see it if it's all the way over here? Well, actually, I think that down. I think that lock it down the side of my leg. That'll work. Yeah. I got our little things prepared here. What's that? Sorry.
Hello, we are some of the counselors from the counseling department here, and we're doing a live feed for you to help you answer some registration questions since our registration parent portal and student portal opens today. I am Kim Haynes. I've been here 10 years and I'm glad to be answering some questions with y'all.
And I'm Leanne Strickland, and my caseload is students beginning with MO through SC, last names.
And I'm Josh Owens. I work with students' last names DE through HI. And I wanted to bring your attention and reiterate that many of the documents that you're given today, along with some other important resources, are available on the website. You can click on the main website. There's a registration link there on the main website and the counseling website to help you look at some information that will help you make decisions about what's the best fit for you next year. For example, your course selection sheets, if you lose those are available on there. Also, the course digest is a comprehensive list of all of our courses that we're offering and a course description of each of those to help you understand what you would actually be studying in those classes that would help you make your decision. That's available as a link on the website. And all applications for application classes are available on the website there as well. There's several of those, so check those out. If you see a name next to the course you're registering for, that means you have an application there and it's probably on the website. Also, for the class of 2017, for any upcoming senior, if you're interested in doing IA squared or work-based learning, those forms are available on the website. You do need to fill out those and turn those in, get them signed, and to be able to get out on early release next year. Also, recently added our pathway videos and various pathways that are descriptions of some of the different things you would be doing. They're videos. So if you're still debating on which pathway is the best fit for you, then those are also a good resource for you as well.
And we really encourage you to consider completing pathways while you're here at North Forsyth High School. There are lots of reasons. Colleges prefer to see a full schedule in your particular your later years when you have those options to do a part-time school day. They like to see a full schedule, and it shows them a better intent when they register or when you apply to college. Another reason is that it further prepares you for a career, gives you more experience in a field that you may be considering for a career, and it helps you to define your career goals. Sometimes knowing what you don't want to do is as valuable as knowing what you do want to do, and the pathways can help you know that. And those can be paid or unpaid. If you get to those third and fourth levels, sometimes those can be apprenticeship, internship kinds of courses, which could be paid or unpaid courses. If you're thinking about the pathways and you want to know about the sequence, the course selection list is a great resource for you. It tells you what the first level and then the sequence of the courses would be as you go through the second, third, and maybe even the fourth level of those pathways.
Okay, and I'm going to talk to you guys and explain a little bit about the difference in a class that ends with an S or a Y. And you may remember this as you look at your course registration sheet from last year, but if the course number ends with a Y, that means that the course is a year-long course. We have just a handful, really, of courses that end with an S, and that means that it is a semester-long course. So, obviously, if you have a semester course, you need to pair it with another semester course. So what we've done this year, it's a little bit different than in years past, is we have them paired together already on your course registration sheet as to what will go together, what you can actually get during the same period together. So if you will, you can look at your own list, and you may want to look on the elective side where it lists the electives with driver's ed, and you can see driver's ed is paired with U.S. history and film, or team sports, or world geography. So you've got the numbers right there together on the list, and you can see what your options are. Okay, and that's the case for all semester courses.
And now we are ready to take questions. I should have said my caseload is S, E through Z. I have the end of the alphabet.
Before we get started with questions, I wanted to briefly talk about students that are interested in Move On When Ready, which is also known as dual enrollment. If you're interested in attending Lanier Tech or North Georgia next year to get college credit, we encourage you to go ahead and sign up for classes for next year like you're going to be here full-time next year. It's easier to go back and fix your schedule after you're accepted and after you select classes with those schools. So in the meantime, just go ahead and sign up for your regular classes here like you were going to be here full-time, and then we'll make adjustments later. If you have questions about dual enrollment, we do have checklists available to help walk you through that process. It's Learning blast was sent out earlier. If you're interested in Linear Tech, that was one. I'm also going to put those on the same website later today, a checklist for North Georgia and a checklist for Linear Tech to help walk you through the application process. But in the meantime, just go ahead and sign up for courses like you want, and we'll help walk you through the process when you do have questions. So.
Sorry, jumped ahead a little bit there. Now I think we're ready to start taking questions.
Thank you. Okay, first question is, if you are a ninth grader, what is the criteria to get into AP World History? Well, if you're a freshman and you did not have a social studies class, likely you weren't recommended for AP World History. So what you will need to do is waive into it. Considerations for really getting into any AP class can boil down to motivation and interest. If you're motivated and willing to take an AP class, we certainly encourage you to do that. And you can certainly fill out the waiver to do that. I think what will show up in your course right now, in your selection on the portal, will be world history. But you can talk with your current teachers. You can talk with Coach Miller. He teaches AP World History if you want to get more info about that. You can look up some course descriptions on the website and see what you're actually going to be studying and getting into, but it is a college level class. You can get college credit for it, and it is a good challenge, and we encourage students to consider that. So, but there's no necessarily minimum grade that you have to have. Department chairs for each course subject area will review the waivers, and if they need to talk with you about something, they may reach out to you about that, so just be aware of that.
Next question, where do students get the forms for I-squared? You're going to need to meet with your counselor and have a conversation with your counselor about I-squared and get the forms from them. We're going to want to make sure that we understand your goals and that you understand the best way to be ready for those goals, and I-squared may fit in that plan and it may not fit in that plan. And that's a conversation you're going to need to have with your counselor of caseload and get the forms there.
Okay. The next question is, do you have to take U.S. History as a junior, or can you take AP Psych instead and still be on track to graduate? Actually, you do have to take U.S. History. It is a graduation requirement. AP Psych is not a graduation requirement, although it's highly recommended and it's a great course. So for this particular student, you do have to register for either U.S. History or AP US, but you could also take AP Psych at the same time as an elective if you wanted to, using one of your elective spots. And there's another question on here as well. If I'm going to do dual enrollment, do I need to fill up the schedule or make an appointment with a counselor? And I believe Mr. Owens already addressed that. You do need to fill up your schedule as if you are going to be here on campus, even if you feel sure that it's going to work out for you to do dual enrollment of any type, and even select 2 alternatives. And then you will be meeting with your counselor in the process. Again, in the meantime, we have checklists available in the main counseling office that you can come by and pick up to make sure you're on track and doing things with dual enrollment in the right order.
Okay, here's the next question regarding math. For junior level math, can a student take AP Statistics instead of Algebra 2? Is Algebra 2 a mandatory course requirement? Yes, Algebra 2 is a mandatory course requirement, so you would have to get through Algebra 2, and then you could Most students will move on and do pre-calculus their senior year. So if you're planning on going to a four-year college, that's the most applicable course for you is to do pre-calculus your senior year. You could double up and do pre-calculus at the same time as AP Statistics your senior year if you're interested in getting to AP Statistics. There's also going to be your senior year possibly available on on-level statistics as well that we're now offering. But yes, Algebra 2 is required next year, and you cannot take AP Stat until possibly your senior year if you're on the on-level track.
2 questions on this one as well. What is the process for IE squared? Again, you're going to meet with your counselor and have that conversation. And do you have to have a waiver for one of the sciences if you were recommended for 2? If the course is in the course recommendations, you don't have to do a waiver unless you want to change the recommendation. So if you're recommended for it and you like it and you want to leave it, then you don't do a waiver. And if you don't like it and you want to change it or add to it, that's when you do a waiver.
Okay. This question is from a teacher. I have a student trying to sign up for the forensic science course with the number 30445. Why? She's typed it into the course search on the portal, but nothing's coming up, and he says it may be an IT question, and I believe it is. So we'll just have to check on that. If anyone has trouble.
They can't choose a core.
Oh, that's what it is. I'm sorry. Yes, thank you, Mr. Owens. Yes, that is what it is. You can't put that in yourself. That requires a teacher recommendation. So the student would just need to check on the portal and see what is listed for their science. And we highly recommend you talk with your current science teacher about making any change. And then if it's appropriate, you would do that change through an electronic waiver. Okay?
Okay, my turn. A student wants to add AP Biology as an alternative elective, however, is not in the selection bank. Any way to solve this? This is similar to Ms. Strickland's question. If you want to, you can't add AP Biology because it's a core course. We only have certain core electives that you can sign up for. What you would want to do is do a waiver into AP Biology, and that would drop your current science recommendation for your teacher. If you wanted to do 2 sciences, and double up in 2 sciences, you would need to do the waiver as well and say that you don't want to drop your science, that you just wanted to take 2 sciences, and AP Biology would be the way how you get into that. Hope that makes sense.
What can you tell us about mathematics of finance? How rigorous is it in comparison to AP Stat, and who is teaching it? I don't know who's teaching it. That'll happen long after the master schedule is set, and lots of work has to happen before the master schedule is set. I'm sure whoever's teaching it will be fabulous. Mathematics of Finance is a math course that meets graduation requirements but is not eligible for admissions to University Systems of Georgia 2-year degree, associate degree programs, or 4-year bachelor degree programs. It gets you a high school diploma, which has you eligible for admissions to technical schools in the state of Georgia, but not to other college programs. Generally, the students who take that are students who have an IEP and some support in those core classes. And I couldn't speak to how rigorous it is compared to AP Stat. That would be a math teacher question. Sorry.
How does the student know if they've completed the fine arts pathway? Again, you can, to try to figure out with any pathway how to complete it, you can look at the course sequence for most of them. Fine arts is a little bit different in that you have to have the prerequisite class of Visual Arts 1, and then you can complete 2 other, this is actually just for art. You can do Visual Arts and 2 other art classes to complete a pathway, but for the other fine arts areas, it's kind of similar. You may have an initial introductory class and then 2 others, but typically it's 3 in the same area, 3 drama, 3 chorus, 3 art, and hopefully that makes sense as well. If you have any further questions though, you could ask the pathway teacher for that particular area to make sure that you're doing it correctly.
Okay, is work release the same thing as IE squared? No, work release, we actually call it work-based learning, is where you're released early but you actually go to work and you get credit for those courses that you leave early for. So, for example, if you leave after 4th period, you could get credit for 5th, 6th, and 7th, and it's called a work-based learning credit. It does look a little bit better for college admissions. It is a credit that you get. However, you do have to be going through a specific pathway and have to have a job related to that pathway. If you want to read more about it, you can certainly look at the application on the website, and then Ms. Mooney would be a good contact person if you're not sure if your job is related to your career pathway. Another question, if you do I-squared, do you still sign up for 7 classes? You can go ahead and sign up for 7 classes if you want to, but we do need to have the I-squared form, and you do need to have a conversation with your counselor before we can put the I-squared into your schedule. It has to be approved by your parents and so on and so forth. Okay.
Great question from Mr. Major's econ class. IF class. He's an econ teacher. Should students attempt to register for courses that require applications before submitting the application? That's kind of a twofold answer. If it requires an application, you cannot register for the course. That happens through, once the applications have been processed, the teacher of that particular course sends us a list and we hand schedule those students whose applications have been approved. But the other part of that answer is if you've applied for a course that has an application, say you're auditioning for chorus or drama, then we want you to register for a chorus or drama class that the number is available on the course selection sheet as a placeholder in your schedule so that we know we've got that many students who are taking chorus or drama or journalism or whatever the class is. And then when we get the application approved list back from those teachers, then we move you to the correct course, maybe not the one that you registered for, but the one that you've been approved for in the application or the audition. So I hope that's clear.
Okay. This question is general PE 2/team sports a combination of regular gym and team sports or just team sports? I'm going to refer you to the course digest on that so that you can get a full description of exactly what you would be doing in that particular class. Thank you.
Okay, my question for Ms. Childress's class is how do you become an office aide? Basically, you do need to get the application from the website, and there's some teacher recommendations that you'd have to get and turn the application in to Ms. Mooney. Is that right? Mm-hmm. To Ms. Mooney, and then she will be able to approve if you're going to be an office aide for next year. Just make sure you follow the requirements on the application, okay?
If a student is planning to go to the academy, do they still need to complete the registration process? Yes, because you have to apply to the academy and it's not guaranteed that you'll be admitted or that you'll be admitted at the beginning of the school year. We want you to have a full schedule, and then when all of those extenuating things are in place, we will hand schedule you to make the schedule that you need if you're going to be dual enroll or if you're going to be at the academy, I-squared, work-based learning, whatever that scenario might be. And then another question about I-squared, I think we've answered that one. Talk to your counselor.
Okay. Have a student wondering if taking ROTC excludes her from taking the Spanish 3-4 combo class. In most cases it would, because the ROTC program of course takes up 2 periods in your schedule, so 2 elective slots, and the Spanish 3-4 combo class does as well. But it could vary from student to student. So if you're trying to fit both of those things in, I would really recommend that you speak individually with your counselor, and you can sit down and look at all of the classes that you need for next year and see if there's any way we could make that work, okay? Another is wondering if she has to sign up for PE if she's already taken health. You do have to have personal fitness and health as graduation requirements, and which addresses part of the next question. Additionally, she is wondering if team sports would count for her PE. No, it does not, unfortunately. Again, you do have to have the personal fitness semester class as well as the health. Most of the time, students take these together and they're paired together their freshman year, but occasionally someone moves in or transfers and they haven't already had it. or there's some little glitch in that. So again, if you have not taken either, you need to make sure that those are on your schedule for next year, because we would not want to wait until senior year and still have a PE or health to have to take, ideally.
If a student wants to leave early next year, do they have to do IA squared? If you want anything less than a 7-period day, you have to complete an IA squared form, or you have to do work-based learning, one of those two. So you can explore which one would be a better fit for you based on your circumstances with your counselor if you'd like. But yeah, you do have to have 7 periods unless you fill out the IA squared form or do work-based learning.
2 good questions from Ms. McAllister's IF. Are the classes first come, first serve, or are they randomly chosen? Well, neither. You register for the classes that you would like to take next year. Your teachers recommend you for the core stuff you need next year. And then our awesome administrative team builds a master schedule based on those recommendations and on those requests. So almost all the time, I said earlier I've been here 10 years, almost all the time we can accommodate the schedule that you need. So neither first come nor first serve, nor are they randomly chosen. It's a very methodical, purposeful work that goes into creating that schedule and getting you what you need. The second question is, what do you do if you want to take a semester class, but you can't find another semester class to fill in second semester? You're going to need to refer back, like Ms. Strickland talked about, to the S's and the Y's. The classes that are going to match up in the master schedule are already matched up on this course selection sheet. And I think that will be your good guideline to know how to match those up.
Okay. This question is, if we will be a senior next year, when do we apply for a dual enrollment class with UNG? Whether you're going to be a junior or a senior, it's the same process. And again, Mr. Owens already touched on that. So I just want to remind you that we have checklists available to help you through the process, show you when the deadlines are and what you need to be doing when. But we highly encourage you to go ahead and get started as soon as possible with that application process. The earlier that gets done, the easier it will be for us to make sure that your schedule is in place before the end of the school year, or at least on time for us to have no issue with the beginning of your senior year.
Okay, I got a question about, can someone take food science class to replace a core science class? We do have certain CTAE electives that will count also as a science. Can't count as both. You have to choose one or the other. Food science is one of those. However, you do want to think ahead into college and what you will be studying and what admission requirements are for that school, because food science may not meet the certain science requirement for admissions into certain schools. So you can certainly do the food science to replace a core science, but to keep your options open, you may want to go on and do a traditional science as well, and then keep your food science class as a CTAE elective. But if you have questions about that, we can certainly talk with you about that.
If I'm a current freshman who plans on taking geometry over the summer, how do I enroll for Algebra 2 in 10th grade? Should I waive into the course? You're not going to be able to waive into that course. You can, but we're going to deny it because we've got to know that geometry is on the transcript before we can take that out of your schedule and put it into take the geometry out of the schedule and put you into Algebra 2. That's a conversation you're going to want to have with your counselor in charge of your caseload. There's some paperwork that needs to be filled out to ensure that the geometry is coming from an accredited school when the class needs to be completed so that you could go into Algebra 2 as a 10th grader. And so not a waiver, and something that you're going to want to talk to your counselor about.
Okay. How can a student set up an appointment with their counselor to discuss their schedule next year in IA squared? There's a couple of ways to do that. Number one, we have counseling appointment slips that you can fill out in the main counseling office and put them in our box, and we try to call students as quickly as possible. It will be a busy time right now with registration, so be patient with us, but if you leave us a note, we'll do our best to call you out of class as soon as we get a chance and address whatever your questions are. And then there was a question about IA squared, and we've already talked about that. So.
My question is about dual enrollment. Again, how do students register for dual enrollment? I did want to mention a couple things that we hadn't talked about. If you're interested in the University of North Georgia, you do have to have a required GPA of 3.25 in your required core classes, and you also have to have a minimum SAT or ACT scores. So you would need to go ahead and sign up for the SAT or ACT and apply. And you of course have to do the application process. For linear tech, you don't have to have a minimum GPA. You do have to apply and take the Compass test, and we'll be getting out more information about when you sign up for the Compass test and how you go about that in the near future. But in the meantime, just go ahead and register for if you're wanting to do dual enrollment like you're going to be here full-time next year.
If a course doesn't have a number but a teacher name with an asterisk, how do you sign up? So let me read from the course selection sheet. Courses with a teacher name instead of a course number require that teacher's approval for placement, application, or audition. An asterisk designates an application must be completed. See the teacher and/or check the 2016-17 registration link on the NFHS website for a copy of the application.
This question is, if I have visual arts and painting 1, will I have a pathway if I complete painting 2? Yes, you will. That was an easy.
Is the waiver procedure different when you want to waive into AP courses for alternate courses? If you want to, let's see, so you're wanting to get into an AP course as an alternate, yes, you would just need to put, unless it's one you can sign up for like AP Psychology, as an alternate you would need to do a waiver and put in your waiver that you want this AP course as an alternate instead of dropping one of your other ones.
How do you register for yearbook class? Student is currently in this class. Yearbook is an application course, so you're going to have to complete the application and then get on that list so that we can hand schedule you when that has been processed.
Okay. Would current issues in U.S. history and film count as social studies credit? It does not count as the social studies credits that you need for graduation. You have to have world history, U.S. history, and then American government and economics. However, they do count as social studies electives, and so they will count in your total GPA, and they will go towards your HOPE GPA too. So those classes are a great way. They're interesting, they're fun, and they're a great way if you're looking to hopefully boost your HOPE GPA to do that as well.
Okay, so are math support classes available if a student needs it? Yes, algebra support for freshmen and geometry support for sophomores are available. Your teacher could have recommended that for you, so it could show up in the portal for you. If you feel like you would benefit from that extra math class, you can still waive into that course if you didn't get recommended for it. You just need to complete the waiver and tell us which course you want to drop instead, and it would take up one of your elective slots.
An athlete needs 5 courses, right? Right. However, 4 classes and the CNA program at Lanier Tech keep them eligible for their sport. Yes, as long as they keep a passing status in all of the classes. It has to be enrolled in 5. We like to see 6 so that you have a little bit more wiggle room. If one grade drops a little bit, you can stay eligible with 6. With 5, you would not. But regardless of how and where you're scheduled, as long as you have 5, you're going to be eligible as long as you pass. Okay.
How do you add and drop classes on the waiver form that are 2 different subjects? I would just do 2 separate waiver forms. That's the easiest way to address that issue. Okay.
Another dual enrollment question is, what classes can you dually enroll as a senior, and what periods would those classes be? So at North Georgia, they're going to have their own schedule that they'll be developing later this spring, so you can't see specifically what times are available, but generally students will go there in the morning, although they can go at other times as well, as long as you can work it with your schedule, and then come back for here to complete any pathway courses or whatever they're interested in doing. But you can go there part-time or full-time. Mainly kids do core classes there. So they also do offer some electives. So what you would do after you apply and you get accepted, you would sit down with an academic advisor at North Georgia and select your classes, and then we would communicate, they would communicate those classes to us, and we would adjust your schedule as needed here.
Is there an option to take team sports for a year-long course? Yes, you're going to want to register for General PE2 and team sports, and that's the 60075Y course number.
A student wants to add AP Biology as an alternate elective. However, it is not in the selection bank. Any way to solve this? Again, you can do an electronic waiver in order to do that.
You want me to go on?
Yeah, go ahead.
How many total credits does a student need to graduate? 4 math, 4 science, 4 English language arts, 3 social studies, and how many electives? You have to have 3 electives from any combination of career tech, fine arts, or world languages. Any 3 from those 3 categories, any combination, and then enough to make 23 credits.
I'll go ahead and go.
Okay.
How many AP courses does one need to take in order to qualify for Zell Miller Scholarship? This is a common question we get. You don't have to have any AP courses to qualify for the Zell Miller Scholarship. They do require you to take certain advanced courses, and AP courses can count towards those. For all of the classes that are upcoming, you do need to have 4 credits. More information is on our website if you want to read specifically what credits would count, but basically Algebra 2, Pre-Calculus would count, Chemistry, Physics, any level Language 2 or above. There's some other ones as well, but as you can see, to meet the requirements for Zell Miller Scholarship or Hope Scholarship in general, you do have to have 4 what's considered rigorous courses, and I named several common ones there, but there's more than that.
Current seniors just have to have 3, but our current juniors and below will need 4. My question I've really already answered, so I'll just highlight briefly. Can I take semester social studies classes to complete graduation requirements? And I just answered that. No, those classes are recommended highly for other reasons, but you do have to take world history, U.S. history, government, and economics to meet your graduation requirements.
Let's see here. Do you want to answer it?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so this is about the animation pathway, the new one that's being offered next year. The first time we're offering. This person is wondering, will it be considered an uncompleted pathway by the time students are seniors? If you are an upcoming sophomore and you start with the first class, then you will be able to complete the pathway by graduation. If you are an upcoming junior, then you'd only be able to complete 2 of the 3 pathways. But if you're really interested in animation, go ahead and sign up for it, because completing the pathway is nice, and there's some recognition you get for that. But it's also beneficial in that you get to explore that pathway and see if that's a good career field for you.
Okay, some senior questions. If a student is not planning on participating in the graduation ceremony, do they still owe senior dues, and how do they get their diploma? You would owe part of your senior dues, because part of the senior dues is paying for the cap and gown, and part of the senior dues go for other things like the diplomas and the covers and that kind of thing. So that's a question that you would want to talk to your counselor about in the division, and what you needed to order and pay for. Is the only way to pay dues at this point through Balfour Online, or will they be returning to campus? Without looking at the website and at the link and the senior timeline, I can't answer that question. You can do it through Balfour Online. If you want to know when they might be coming back to campus, you need to look at that website to the senior timeline and check and see what their schedule is. That information was also given out at the senior parent night in your packets. How can a student find out if they owe money to the school beyond the $100 dues? That would be in the fees tab, and you can check that, or you can go see our bookkeeper in the main office. And no, there is not a list of students who have paid or not paid that's available to teachers, because that's going to be considered some confidential information, but you could find that out. The students know whether or not they've paid, or they could find that out through the bookkeeper. I think that we have to cut off because it's almost time to end this session and go to the second transition for IF. Great questions. Thank you for your time. We got to as many as we can. Please use the resources on the web page, and if you have more questions that can't be answered through that and through the resources that we've talked about with work-based learning and those kind of folks, then please come see us and we'll help you the best we can.